What's up everyone, it's Endymion, and if you've been on Twitter, you've probably seen this ad from McDonald's featuring a small Japanese family enjoying a wholesome meal. As the daughter playfully eats fries her loving mother gives her while sitting in her dad's lap. What a beautiful little ad, isn't it? I mean, McDonald's is still terrible for you, and anytime I've gone to a McDonald's, I never see the employees making any of the food while wearing gloves. But that's not the point here, because look at the cute family, except according to Twitter, this is actually all a psyop. And having ads like this McDonald's one is not only problematic in today's woke dystopia, but it's also racist, sexist, anti-everything, and most of all, it promotes trad values. The horror! How could McDonald's do this?
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
But I think more than anything else, this ad has proven that the absolute state of our modern world is cooked, broken, and has been successfully conditioned to reject anything close to what their parents' generation saw as happiness. So take my hand, dear viewer, and let's look at this ad as well as later on more insane examples of how this world is being successfully brainwashed into believing false truths. Like how African people built the Stonehenge apparently. We'll talk about that one when we get there. Also, I'll just play some dope Japanese game footage in the background, so let's begin. So what the hell is happening and why are people mad? Well, it's what I like to call modern day echo chamber nonsense. In case you haven't noticed, somehow the modern world has been completely destabilized and ruined by corporations pushing propaganda. We have people who don't know anything who've been raised by institutions that care more about pushing woke identity politics than basic educational things like math or knowing how to read properly. Users like this, for example, whose name I removed to ensure no harassment comes their way, said stuff like, 70,000 white supremacists are going to make think pieces about this. And basically, Japan is the holy grail for white supremacists because it's relatively racially homogenous. Hence, based and family-oriented ads like these play into the trad wholesale community image many associate with Japan and find lacking in the West. So Japan is racist for having an ad made in their country that's targeted towards their people who are almost all Japanese themselves. Because that's how country demographics work in places that are homogenized according to their place of origin. Like, what are we even talking about here? So if Poland makes an ad that's meant for Polish people and it shows Polish people exclusively in the ad, it's now racist because it lacks diversity? What?
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic.
So if Chinese consumers have ads with only Chinese people, it's now problematic to the Western weirdos unless everyone in the ad is a different color, with different piercings and different hair colors and each identifying as different genders. I just want to know, if Nigeria had a McDonald's ad showing a nice black family enjoying a meal, would that be racist or based as well? These people are crazy, dude. This is what I'm talking about when I say we need to keep pushing back against woke ideology. Because the younger generations of today are so blatantly brainwashed by this nonsense that it's conditioned them to believe that anything that doesn't fit into their narrow view is now considered racist or wrong. Which is incredibly ironic since wanting everything to be pigeonholed into one particular viewpoint or color is the definition of racism. And it's hilarious how these weirdos don't realize this. Japan has this ad, and as someone who was raised in a family with a mom and dad present, this ad would be completely normal within my viewpoint of what a healthy family is. It's just a mom and dad eating food with their kid, but this just shows you how far down the woke rabbit hole Western civilization has gone. That unless something is pushing westernized woke propaganda, it's now racist and wrong. Funnily enough, if you compare the Japanese McDonald's ad to a more recent North American McDonald's ad, the dichotomy speaks for itself. In Japan, you get wholesome, happy family enjoying a meal, which makes sense, since the product being advertised is clearly a food chain, so of course you want food to be the focus of your ad. In America, McDonald's ads instead are used to push trans ideology, and pushes the shaming of their populace in embracing certain views or be considered bigoted. Look, I get that social issues matter, but what does a trans black person shaming people have anything to do with McDonald's? It's crazy how often that one Stone Toss comic keeps being relevant the more time passes. You know the one where the executives are talking about an ad for burgers and they show two people kissing, and the ad expert being confused when the executive asks, "How will this ad help us sell burgers?" Because it's clear these days it's not about what the product is anymore. This ad has nothing to do with McDonald's. I don't see no quarter pounder with cheese here. I don't see fries or anything. All I see is another ad looking to push ideology that is designed to make me feel miserable, angry, and suspicious of those around me. Seriously, the weirdo ads of today are simply being designed to sow discord and distrust in your fellow community. This one Twitter user sums it up perfectly by saying, "The fact that this tweet portraying a happy family sharing a meal triggered so many people is amazing. People hate being reminded of what they'll never have." And they couldn't be more right, because the discourse isn't that McDonald's has an ad that actually properly features the actual product being advertised. It's the fact it shows something that has been largely devalued, oppressed, and conditioned to be something younger people shouldn't strive for. You've probably seen those TikToks where girls are in a wedding dress or putting on a ring, and it suddenly cuts to them taking care of the house or having babies, only for the girl to reject this potential future and run away to be happy, and I put that in quotations. These are all psyops designed to break down the traditional values on which society has been built upon for decades. Corporations know they can't as easily break down or control people who have a strong family dynamic, or a stable income, or a functioning brain on their shoulders, since they've been raised already from infancy to understand and embrace the core fundamentals that have been present their entire lives. But these days, that's why so many school systems barely even teach actual schoolwork anymore anyway. There's dozens of stories and headlines of how basic classes in school like math don't even teach kids these fundamentals anymore. But instead they sit around for an hour talking about gender ideology and how oppressed they all are instead. The kids of today are being fed so much anti-family propaganda on a daily basis that the existence of a simple ad like this McDonald's one makes their blood boil like the 9 circles of hell itself. Because they've been taught to believe they'll only be happy when they're genderless, alone, and reject all the core values that society has been built upon. But it's also a masterstroke of propaganda designed to take advantage of lost souls. Because if someone has no family, no friends, no hope for the future because their institutions tell them that the world is apparently overpopulated, and climate change is going to kill you anyway, and all of this other insane stuff constantly being hammered into your brain at any given moment, what you're left with is not even a person, but a vessel, a hollow shell devoid of any critical thought or opinion that is informed in some way by the echo chambers and institutions that they cling to, who at any given moment will eat them whole or excommunicate them if they for even a second choose to question the fundamentals of these ideologies that they are a part of. The reaction of this ad has exposed a deep-seated anger and sad regret that's permeated throughout the public consciousness. Jesus Christ, I'm getting philosophical over a goddamn ad where some people eat fries in their kitchen. But you get what I'm saying, right? The nuclear response by woke weirdos to this ad proves that the Western psyop to destabilize the core values of society has worked. Since women these days don't want kids or want to get married, you know society is cooked when future projections say almost half of all women will be childless and single by 2030. And I already know there's gonna be women reading that going, "Woo, yeah, that's me, baby." But women, more so than men, need to have people around them in order to be fulfilled. And all I see by reading this is a future where half of the women on this planet are just drinking wine, are alone, and are wondering why they can't find a decent man, when they don't realize they've been successfully indoctrinated into believing that if they own nothing, have no kids or husband, that they'll somehow be happy. When in fact, all they'll end up being is childless, alone, and getting older as their options start running out. But hey, feminism and whatever, I guess, but it's sad how many women don't realize they're becoming victims due to these viewpoints. If you're a woman watching this, please tell me, how does this McDonald's ad feel for you? Do you feel offended by it? Do you like it? Do you genuinely believe what's being shown here is unhealthy or problematic? And if so, why? I really do want to know, so let me know in the comments. Like, there's this clip that went viral on Twitter too, showing a bunch of families in Serbia in a parade, which I'm Serbian myself, and seeing this, it looks normal to me. But to a brainwashed Western weirdo, this is literally racism. Because it's a bunch of white Serbian people with their kids in Serbia, which is where they're from. Like, there's also this clip of Jimmy Fallon too, where he cites a report that says the global population of white people has decreased. And listen to how his mostly white audience responds to this.
Census just came out, and for the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
These idiots are brainwashed. They have all been forcibly conditioned to believe the existence of traditional values are an attack on the woke ideologies that they cling to. And while this McDonald's ad triggers these weirdos, they are suspiciously silent when it comes to this new book that's making waves called Brilliant Black British History. This book, which is aimed for children in grade 7 and above, is written by a Nigerian-born author who pushes the idea that Britain was actually originally a black migrant country, meaning Britain was not originally white, but in fact everyone was black instead. Not only that, but things like Stonehenge were also created by black people. And okay, I'll just read what some of this article is saying because this shit is crazy. This author goes on to claim that Britain was a black country more than 7,000 years before white people came, and during that time the most famous British monument was built, Stonehenge. One page shows an image of a black Roman legionary fighting a white Celt. The author claims the Romans had turned back to Europe and pushed north after trying and failing to conquer the African kingdom of Nubia. By the Middle Ages, Britain was a hodgepodge of people, according to the author. The population was made up of original British migrants, Celts, Romans, Britons, Anglo-Saxons, Vikings, Africans, and Normans. They also spoke a hodgepodge language too, English. A page on the Black Lives Matter movement says that although race does not scientifically exist, black people suffer institutional racism. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? What's hilarious to me is that these woke revisionist weirdos will push stuff like this, but don't remind them that it was Britain who invaded places like India and stole wealth from them. But then by these so-called historical records, that means India was actually invaded by black people. Which means British people of today have no reason to have any guilt when it comes to the subjugation of India, because if black people founded and created Britain, you're all in the clear. See how easy it was for me to just make up things and push it as truth? Damn, I should write a book and just make up whatever I want too. And you have more weirdos like this person saying it's creepy how the mom has the exact same proportions as a child, like literally down to the hands. Oh my god, dude, the mom is wearing a big sweater, her hands are more covered, it's not that deep. And the mom and daughter look alike because that's how genetics work. Are we being serious here? Please don't tell me I have to actually explain how genetics work, because if I do, I will turn into the Joker. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Twitter users don't know how genetics work, since schools these days don't teach them anything anyways. This user sums it up well. This went viral because the American mind cannot comprehend wholesome beauty in advertisements anymore, and it takes McDonald's Japan to snap us out of a psychologically terrorized state. Westernized society has been designed to accept degenerate behavior and lifestyle choices that alienate their neighboring community on purpose. You are literally being conditioned to hate your life and those around you by people who hate you. I can't stress this enough. So if you take anything from this video, I want you to realize that what you're being told by corporations, schools, and the blue-haired feminist who screams in your face is all nothing but projections designed to ruin and bring you down to their level. Resist the Western woke plague. Stop consuming these anti-societal nonsense. And question why Western ads are so eager to make you angry and alone. Society is kind of ruined now, true, but it doesn't mean it needs to be in the future. So please, talk to people, go to the gym, smile at someone at a grocery store, and reach out. Otherwise, these woke weirdos will win in the end. And if they do, the future will not be climate change free or happy, but instead the future will be devoid of life and any semblance of normality, and that is something worth fighting for. So thank you for watching, subscribe and share the video, and have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.